People have made this whole story that I came in the industry to like take over somebody's.
From the moment Cardi B stepped into the rap game, the chatter hasn't stopped. Rumors, whispers, conspiracies. Some fans swore she was planted in the industry with one secret mission: to take down Nicki Minaj. And now, after years of speculation, Cardi herself has finally broken her silence. But wait, don't click away. Because by the time you hear what she actually said and how she flipped this narrative on its head, you'll understand why this moment is shaking the entire hip-hop community. So stay with us, watch the clip to see exactly what's going on, and let's dive deep into this storm.
People have made this whole story that I came in the industry to like take over somebody's career or like make them think, but it's like I never thought that. I just wanted to become famous at what I like to do. That's all things. Sometimes people just don't get along with each other, and if they don't get along with each other, it's no more like, oh, but I think that they don't get along with each other because somebody from the higher ups wanted to make and destroy and this and that. No, this is what I was destined for. I was destined to become this. No matter who signed me, no matter what, I was going to be famous and I was going to be a rapper no matter what, because this is what I invested my time with, invested my own money with. Like before I got signed, I was investing my money. It's nothing more than just people didn't get along with each other.
First burst onto the scene with her breakout single Bodak Yellow, critics were quick to frame her success as something too fast, too polished, too convenient. The idea was simple. Maybe Cardi wasn't just an artist grinding her way up. Maybe she was the music industry's weapon to unseat Nicki Minaj. For years, that narrative followed her, shadowing every success, every award, and every headline. And now, years later, Cardi is saying, enough is enough. In her words, she was never anybody's pawn. She wasn't put in the industry to replace or sabotage anyone. She built her brand from the ground up, invested her own money, and hustled relentlessly to make herself visible. Cardi says the notion that she was planted is not just false, it's insulting to the years of grind and sacrifice she poured into her career. But let's pause here, because this isn't just about Cardi defending herself. This is about an old, deep-rooted rivalry that has shaped an entire generation of rap fans. Cardi and Nicki, two women dominating hip-hop at the same time, were always bound to be compared. But when Cardi insists that she didn't care who was on top, it directly challenges the very foundation of the industry plant theory. She says she wasn't even thinking about Nicki. She was thinking about her own rise, her own family, and her own future. Still, let's be honest. The industry plant rumor didn't come from nowhere. The timing of Cardi's rise, right as Nicki's dominance was being questioned, made it too easy for critics to create a narrative. And with media outlets stoking the flames of beef, the conspiracy only grew stronger. Cardi addressing this head-on feels like her attempt to finally put that fire out, for good. She explained that people don't see the behind-the-scenes reality. They see the glam, the videos, the awards. What they don't see? Cardi investing her own savings into music, into promotion, into videos, long before she had big labels behind her. Cardi said, "I put my own money into being famous and into being an artist." And if that's true, then the conspiracy that she was put in place starts to crumble. But here's where it gets even more interesting. While Cardi made it clear that she didn't come into rap to take down Nicki, she also didn't shy away from acknowledging the fact that they don't get along. She was honest, transparent even. She said, "Yes, me and Nicki don't vibe like that, but that doesn't mean I'm here because of her." Think about that for a moment. Cardi is saying that two truths can exist at once. She can have beef with Nicki, but at the same time, her career has nothing to do with Nicki. It's not about replacing her. It's not about ending her reign. It's about carving her own lane. And that admission? That's what makes this moment so powerful. And fans are divided. Some believe Cardi's words, applauding her for finally putting an end to the rumors. Others? They aren't buying it. They point to years of tension, to calculated industry moves, and to the way rap beef has historically been used as a marketing tool. But the bigger question lingers. Will this confession change the way people view Cardi's career? Because if you strip away the rumors, the conspiracies, the headlines, what you're left with is a woman who hustled her way from reality TV to Grammy-winning rapper. Cardi's story is full of grit, resilience, and undeniable charisma. And whether you love her or hate her, her impact on hip-hop is permanent. Now let's get into the heart of the storm, the media machine that thrives on celebrity conflict. Because let's be real, the Cardi versus Nicki narrative wasn't just born from fan chatter. It was amplified, magnified, and multiplied by blogs, outlets, and even mainstream publications that know beef equals clicks, and clicks equal money. When Cardi B shot to fame with Bodak Yellow, the headlines weren't simply about her being the first solo female rapper in years to hit #1 on the Billboard charts. Instead, the narrative was shaped as "Nicki's reign is over" or "The new queen has arrived." That framing immediately pitted the two women against each other, regardless of what either of them said or did. And here's where things get messy. Every time Cardi did an interview, her words were dissected for hidden shade. Every time Nicki dropped a verse, people combed through the lyrics for subliminals. It didn't matter if either of them addressed it directly. The media painted them as rivals, whether they wanted it or not. And the more people speculated about Cardi being put in the industry, the more outlets leaned into it for clicks. But let's not forget the role of fan bases. Nicki's loyal supporters, the Barbs, have long accused Cardi of being an industry creation designed to compete with their queen. Meanwhile, Cardi's fans clap back by pointing to her hustle, her raw authenticity, and her come-up story from Instagram personality to rap superstar. The back and forth only fed the rumor mill, creating an echo chamber where conspiracy theories flourished. Cardi's recent comments cut straight into that narrative. She insists she didn't care who was at the top of the game when she was grinding. She didn't wake up thinking about Nicki Minaj. She was too busy trying to feed her family and make a name for herself. But can the media machine ever really let that version of the story exist? Or will it always be more profitable to push the idea of two women tearing each other down? And here's the twist. Some industry insiders believe the plant narrative wasn't just fan speculation. They argue that labels, managers, and executives saw the opportunity to stoke the fire, knowing that a Cardi versus Nicki beef would drive massive attention. Did the industry itself weaponize their rivalry, not by planting Cardi, but by exploiting her rise against Nicki's already established career? That's a question we may never have a clear answer to. Now, what makes this even more complex is the timing. Cardi's rise coincided with a period when Nicki was facing her own controversies. Public feuds with other artists, backlash from critics, and changing trends in music. To fans who were looking for a shift, Cardi's success seemed almost too perfect. And that timing became fuel for the theory that she was placed to dethrone Nicki. But Cardi's response flips that argument. She doesn't deny the rivalry exists. Instead, she acknowledges it but separates it from her grind. She's basically saying, yes, me and Nicki don't see eye to eye, but my career isn't built on her downfall. And in a way, that makes the industry plant theory weaker. Because if Cardi herself admits they don't get along, why would she need to pretend otherwise? Still, the media loves a good story. And a feud between two of the biggest female rappers in the world? That's not just a story, it's a saga. A saga that keeps fans engaged, keeps social media buzzing, and keeps Cardi and Nicki's names trending, no matter what they release. Which raises the question, even if Cardi wasn't planted, has the industry turned her rivalry with Nicki into a marketing tool anyway? Because let's be clear, the Cardi versus Nicki beef has generated headlines for nearly a decade now. And whether Cardi likes it or not, her denial of being an industry plant doesn't erase the fact that their feud has been a cash cow for everyone else watching. Which means, for fans, her recent comments may not be the closure she hopes it to be. Cardi B didn't just clap back with words, she brought the receipts. And when Cardi talks receipts, you know she's not just throwing shade, she's showing proof. She laid it out plainly. Her career wasn't handed to her on a silver platter. She invested her own money, took her own risks, and built her own empire brick by brick. Let's rewind for a moment. Before the Grammy, before the #1 singles, before the stadium tours, Cardi was hustling in the Bronx. She was stripping, saving, and using social media to build a following. When she started pursuing music seriously, she wasn't signed to a major label right away. She spent her own money on studio time, on beats, on engineers. She put her own energy into pushing her early mixtapes like Gangsta Bitch Music Vol. 1-2. That's a far cry from the idea of an industry plant. Industry plants don't have to self-fund their careers. They don't have to put themselves out there, unpolished and raw, hoping the world pays attention. But Cardi did exactly that. And when Bodak Yellow hit, it wasn't because a label orchestrated her rise. It was because she had already built an audience that was ready to see her win. Cardi also pointed out that if she was truly planted to take down Nicki, why would she still have to fight so hard for respect even at the top of her game? Think about it. Even after breaking records, even after winning awards, Cardi has had to constantly prove herself as more than a one-hit wonder, more than a reality star, more than a moment. That's not the story of someone who had it easy. That's the story of someone who had to grind twice as hard because people didn't want to give her credit. But here's where it gets juicy. Cardi revealed that during her come-up, she wasn't even thinking about Nicki Minaj. She said she didn't wake up plotting against anyone. She was too busy plotting her own next move. And for anyone doubting her, she threw out a challenge. Name 5 Bia songs. Name 5 tracks from other rappers who claim she copied them. She bet most people couldn't. But her songs are unforgettable. Her songs shook the industry. Still, the question lingers. Why does the industry plant label stick so hard when it comes to Cardi? Maybe it's because people can't believe someone so unfiltered, so real, could also become such a global star. Maybe they think there has to be a machine behind her success because her rise feels almost unreal. Or maybe it's because in hip-hop, especially for women, there's always this narrative that there can only be one queen at a time. But Cardi wasn't done. She reminded everyone that she turned down plenty of industry shortcuts. She could have played nice with people she didn't like. She could have moved more quietly, smiled when she wanted to scream, and played the industry game. But that's not Cardi. She built her career on being herself, flaws and all, and that's exactly why people connected with her. Now here's the part that really silenced critics. Cardi didn't just say she invested her own money. She broke down what that meant. We're talking music videos she paid out of pocket. We're talking styling, choreography, promotions, and even marketing strategies that she funded herself before the labels ever believed in her. That's not a plant. That's a boss. And yet, despite all this, the conspiracies keep going. Why? Because for some people, it's easier to believe a woman was placed in the spotlight than to admit she worked for it. It's easier to call her a puppet than to give her props. But Cardi isn't letting those narratives win. She's using her platform to remind everyone that she's self-made. Cardi B didn't just stop at defending her grind. She went further, exposing the subtle games the music industry plays. According to her, the plant narrative isn't just a rumor, it's a tool. A way to create controversy, drive clicks, and maintain the drama between her and Nicki Minaj. And if you've been following this saga, you know the media loves a feud. Feuds sell, headlines sell, streams sell. Cardi pointed out that when she first entered the mainstream, she didn't just have to prove she could perform, she had to constantly prove she wasn't someone being pushed by a machine. Every hit she dropped, every move she made, was scrutinized under a microscope. Critics dissected her every lyric, her every video, her every social media post, looking for evidence of outside influence. And yet, Cardi persevered. She kept releasing music, kept touring, and kept building her brand. When Bodak Yellow exploded, the industry suddenly had to acknowledge that this wasn't some prepackaged star. They had underestimated a self-made force. Cardi's rise forced the narrative to shift. No longer was she just a reality star trying music. She became a legitimate contender in the game, with numbers, influence, and undeniable talent to back her up. Cardi also addressed how people love to compare her to Nicki Minaj. While she respects Nicki's achievements, she emphasized that her career path was her own. She invested her money, risked her reputation, and faced the challenges of the industry head-on. She wasn't handed success. She built it brick by brick. And that's a message she wants the world to hear. Now here's where things get really interesting. Cardi revealed that the plant label is often used to diminish women's accomplishments, especially Black women in hip-hop. The idea is that no woman can truly rise on her own merit without help from a hidden hand. But Cardi's story shatters that myth. Every studio session she paid for, every marketing move she orchestrated, every risk she took. These are proofs of a woman in control of her destiny. She even talked about how this narrative spills over into fan interactions. Fans ask her why she doesn't just let it go with Nicki, or why she's always defending herself. But Cardi's point is clear. When people try to rewrite her story, they're not just talking about her. They're trying to shape the history of her entire career. And she won't let that happen. Digging deeper, Cardi also shared insight on how the industry benefits from framing her as a plant. If people believe she was placed to take down Nicki, then every rivalry, every diss track, every feud becomes more dramatic and more profitable. The narrative generates clicks, drives streams, and keeps fans engaged in a cycle of speculation. And let's be real, Cardi knows this, and she's flipping the script, turning the story into proof of her independence. But Cardi didn't stop there. She made it personal, sharing how she's faced skepticism from people who should have been allies. Colleagues who questioned her talent, insiders who doubted her strategy, even critics who assumed she had help because they couldn't see the work behind the scenes. This isn't just drama. It's the reality of climbing an industry ladder as a woman who refuses to be overshadowed. She also reminded viewers that her authenticity has always been her strongest asset. Cardi B isn't just a performer. She's a personality, a storyteller, and an entrepreneur. Every album, every single, every social media post is crafted with intention, and that authenticity is what gives her an edge over manufactured stars. Finally, Cardi B challenged the doubters directly. She said, "Look at the numbers, look at the streams, look at the sold-out shows. That's not a plant. That's a woman who put in the work and made it happen." And with that, she set the record straight. The rumors won't define her legacy. Her actions will. Cardi B didn't just defend herself. She used this moment to highlight the larger picture. She explained how her journey from a social media personality to one of the most influential figures in hip-hop has opened doors for other women. By proving that a woman can succeed without being planted or pushed, she's setting a new standard in the industry. Female rappers now see her path as evidence that talent, drive, and business acumen can overcome old biases. She also reflected on how public perception can shape an artist's career. Cardi noted that while she's often in the center of rumors and controversies, her ability to control her narrative is what keeps her relevant. She emphasized that transparency, sharing her struggles, her wins, and her decisions, creates trust with fans. It's a relationship built on authenticity, not manufactured drama. Interestingly, Cardi touched on the pressure that comes with being constantly compared to Nicki Minaj. She acknowledged the influence Nicki has had on her, but reiterated that her own success was self-made. She pointed out that every track, every tour, every business move came from her initiative and investments. No one handed her fame or fortune. She earned it. Cardi's story also sheds light on how the music industry manipulates female rivalry narratives. She explained that framing women as enemies benefits nobody but the media and corporate interests. By addressing these rumors head-on, Cardi shifts the focus back to her artistry and work ethic, rather than allowing gossip to define her image. Moreover, Cardi highlighted her resilience. Despite constant scrutiny, she continued to release chart-topping music, build her brand, and invest in herself. Every milestone is a testament to her determination, not a handout from some hidden power. She reminded viewers that hard work, vision, and persistence are her true tools for success. She also discussed the importance of financial independence. Cardi invested in her music and career with her own money, taking risks that others might have avoided. She stated clearly that no one can claim credit for her success, reinforcing that being planted is a myth. Her achievements reflect strategy, dedication, and sheer hustle. Fans have responded enthusiastically to her candidness. Social media has been flooded with support, with fans praising her transparency and celebrating her victories. Many highlighted that Cardi's approach to addressing rumors head-on is a lesson in self-empowerment and resilience for both women and men in the industry. Cardi concluded by turning her attention to the future. She expressed excitement for her upcoming projects and reiterated her commitment to staying authentic. She emphasized that her legacy will not be defined by rumors or perceived rivalries, but by the body of work she's building and the doors she's opening for others. Finally, Cardi delivered a message that resonates far beyond the music industry. She encouraged fans, especially women, to believe in their own power, to trust their work, and to ignore the noise. Do your thing, invest in yourself, and the world will see your real story, she said. This isn't just a defense, it's a blueprint for anyone navigating challenges in a competitive world. As we wrap up this coverage, remember to watch the clip for Cardi B's full interview. It's filled with candid moments and powerful insights. Her words remind us that success is earned, rumors are temporary, and authenticity always wins.